Hello, welcome to Frame the Beat podcast, where we deep dive into the stories behind the music and the people who bring it to life. Today I'm joined by an absolute powerhouse, the incredible Jem Cooke. You've heard her voice on tracks with some of the biggest names in dance music, from CamelPhat, Corry, Wilkinson, Tong, Gorgon, Damian, Lazarus and Franky Wah, and that's just scratching the surface. We crossed paths on the Ascension shoot this year with Jess Bays and Kelly Lee. It was full of glitter, good vibes and unstoppable energy. And before that, on the Tong Ibiza Classics tour, where Jem's voice lit up the arenas in the UK. In this episode, we're talking about her journey from her early days as a young singer with big dreams to becoming one of the biggest in-demand voices in electronic music. Her songwriting process, creative rituals, and what it really takes to keep your voice and vision strong in such a fast-moving scene. So settle in, turn up the volume, because this is Frame the Beat with Jem Cooke. Hey Jem, how you doing?
Sorry, I had to start with a banana. I'm sorry. I'm good. How are you?
I'm not bad, thanks. Thanks for so much for coming on the podcast. Again, just telling people about why I started this. This is my 25th year being a music photographer, and I like to get people on this. I've started this to sort of have a chat with people that I've worked with down the years and like brushed shoulders with, etc., etc. Yourself is actually, we've actually only met the last few years because we did a proper shoot this year.
Yeah, with Jess Bays and Kelly Lee.
That's it. We did. It was called for the Ascension release, wasn't it? And we did a cool studio shoot in London, and we did a big glitter,
head to toe glitter. It was so amazing. The shots were so brilliant. Getting it off was a whole other journey, wasn't it?
There was no shower there, was there? It was just like
rain. I just had like bits of it. Just caked in my ears. I kept finding it in my ears for the rest of the week.
But it was fun because it was one of those things that I've always. It was nice. I spoke to Jess, who's obviously a mutual friend of ours, about doing this, and it was one of those that I've always wanted to do, like that sort of all-in-one glitter shot, and no one wanted to do it because it's such a ball out.
I know. I don't mind glitter that much, but I have friends who were literally having conniptions looking at the behind the scenes because they were just so horrified at the idea that you'd be encased in a glitter.
What people are like got a fear of it in that sense.
One of my besties, Ali, is really, really, really averse to glitter, and she's
really
shuddering at this. She's like, I mean, you look great, but oh my god, I wasn't allowed near her for about 2 weeks till she was sure I had every crumb of it off.
Oh wow! What's that classed as? What's the medical term?
But yeah, glitterphobia, I guess.
Glitteritis.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the other going on portrait shoots, we've actually got one. Well, this is mid-September. We're recording this 2025. We've got a press shoot next week, which is going to be exciting. Loads of different options and ideas we've got coming up.
I can't wait. The shoot. Yes, I do need some new pics doing because I've got a couple of quite exciting releases coming up. One of which is a collab with an artist called Local Singles and Diplo. So
okay, wow.
Excited that that's coming up. So yeah, I wanted to.
Yeah. And the way we would do it is we'll shoot loads of different options because it's not just for this release. We'll try and so you've got a lot of things in the bank for future stuff. And we've got some nice plans. Hopefully they all come out. You've got some crazy outfits as well, which I'm looking forward to.
It's just years of collecting silly clothes, really. It's starting to pay off.
Where do you, but before we get into everything, where do you get all your outfits and everything?
They're just a kind of mishmash of various places I've been, or as you have already said, I'm quite into my headgear. I've always been quite into hats. We sort of dubbed it the 3 a.m. Jem. So whatever I'm doing at a house party, I mean, this is quoting me from like quite a long time ago now. I'm not really up at 3 a.m. that often anymore. But 3 a.m. Jem is often just sort of dripping in things that I've found along the way on a night out and then a night in at the afters. So that's sort of where my love for all of that began. And then I think when you sort of, I guess that's the root of it, just collecting random things from around a house, just adorning your body with them. And then, I got sort of very into just collecting silly bits to put on my head. And you can make them, obviously, but I got a bit more into actually buying them. But it's I've been lucky along the way. So before, with the Tong tour that we actually met on,
That's the other thing I was going to say. Yeah, we were doing that. Yeah.
My amazing friend, her designer name is Hayami. I always say, what was it? It's spelled Heyami. She's just phenomenal. She helped me build she didn't help me. I told her what I was kind of hoping for, and she built the looks for me for the Pete Tong tour. So she is utterly wonderful. And then I've got other pals who are just very good at throwing looks together. My friend Bexy Cameron, who did one of my shoots for me about 3 years ago, she's been very good and instrumental in helping me build a look. And then the rest is just, like I said, being an idiot.
I do quite like the name 3 a.m. Jem.
3 a.m. Jem.
That could be your other pseudonym. That could be a different sort of thing, like
the ego. Because I think that was another thing I basically got into my head when it came to performing. Ahead of doing, it was my own set at Glastonbury that I was sort of like, who do I want to, who do I want to be when I'm up there? And I realised that it was the 3 a.m. Jem I needed to tap into. Like, it's going to be, 10:30 p.m. on, on Glade at Glasgow. What would I want to see? And I would want to see something quite wacky and something that was constantly changing. So I did. I changed. I sort of came in and out of a dressing up box between songs and changed the headgear and all of that malarkey. But that was good fun. So that definitely comes from 3 a.m. Jem vibes.
So just as people may not know who you are, who you work with singing and Dared exactly, but I'm just saying, because obviously, there's people that may not even know I do and they just come across it. So you've worked with some incredible names. I'm going to go through them. You've got Joel Corry, you've obviously got Diplo coming up and The Script.
Yeah.
Damian Lazarus, CamelPhat, Hot Since 82, Sam Devine, Wilkinson, LP Giobbi, Jess Page, Cream, Roger Sanchez, Christoph, Hannah Wants, Steve Aoki, Pete Tong, Majestic, Franky Wah, Gorgon City, Jax Jones, to name a few. That is mental.
Ooh.
That is mad. And how long have you been doing that?
The dancey side started I always credit Kate Simcoe with getting me into that lounge, because it was her who I got together with back in sort of, I guess, 2008, maybe 2009, and we just really gelled. And I sort of did it without. I was an acoustic singer-songwriter at the time. I mean, I still am inherently, but yeah, it was her that got that vocal for Go On Then, and it became this sort of mini underground thing with a little life of its own, which was really wonderful. And then I think I was hanging out with lots of people. I was raving basically. So I was winding up late with pals, just sort of recording vocals for the fun of it. And then as a result, those vocals ended up sort of just gradually working their way into the ether, and cut to another 10 years because it took that long to really make a living from it. And then I guess I did lots of, sorry, I'm really sorry. Lots of collaborations. And then I guess it was Breathe that, obviously I know it was Breathe that was the sort of real tipping point for me. But the dance stuff, I would think, really started with Kate, and then it built with artists like Christoph. And then it was sort of around about Breathe and beyond that stuff got much more.
Yeah. I think for me, it was Breathe and Buggin'.
Yeah.
With Daly, our past guest.
Same year. They were both.
Yeah. So we can talk a little bit more about that in a bit, but let's go back. What age did you start singing? You started young, didn't you? Very
young. My dad, I was going to say still is a composer for film and TV, and is a multi-instrumentalist Jedi.
Wow.
So I grew up in a house that had a working studio in it. It was always, when we lived in Acton, it was in the garage. And then he bought a big house and it had a barn. That was and then the house that we did the main years in Twickenham, it was on the top floor. So yeah, there was just always a studio where I lived. So he got me in from like the age of 3 on off the back of the reason this happened is back in the 80s when there was like, and you know, like proper answering machine messages. What was that to signify? Typing? No, answer phone machine messages with actual cassette tapes in them, and he and I would do these silly little bits on there, and it was because of that another guy he was working with, a guy called Chris Sanford, who was huge in like Soho for advertising commercials and jingles and all of that jazz, and my dad worked really closely with him for years, and he heard one of them when he called the house once, and he was like, we've got to get her on a gig. So I did the Evening Standard when I was 3, and I sort of did that for a few years with dad, and then it just sort of developed from there really. So I guess I sort of had my education in my house that I grew up in.
What was there anything we recognise that your dad's done? If you know what I mean, like
On Man.
Really? My god!
For Chucklevision, PC World. I mean, he's
Chucklevision. What, he did the theme to Chucklevision?
Yeah, and all the incidental music.
Oh my god!
Yeah, and that was when the BBC used to pay like residuals.
Wow, that's cool. All our age will know that song straight away.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? It's like if the viewers or listeners don't know what that is, Google it or go on YouTube
immediately.
Yeah. And then what were you doing then? So you did what's the standard? What was that you were saying? What's
Evening
that?
Standard was like a local London paper.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. That was, and then it's free now, isn't it? But it was.
So yeah, and it was a radio ad for.
Oh, okay. And then what did you build up to do? What were you doing from 3? What did you start doing?
So they were probably speakeasy things, and then the older I got, it sort of became apparent that there was a voice in there. So he did lots of animated films, like there was the Cabbage Patch Dolls at one point, and I'm trying to think about lots of like education things which needed just like big chorus vocals, just to so he would just layer me up, and it was good because it gave me my like education on being recorded, learning how to do harmonies, learning how to cut quickly, because there was nobody I'd ever worked for that was more terrifying than my dad.
Was that in between school and all that as well? It wasn't. Yeah.
You just do school, and then you'd be like, right, I've got another job. I mean, I loved it because I was earning money. It was It was a reason to do it. When I couldn't be bothered, he'd be like, pardon me, you're getting a fee. And then he sort of put the fear of God in me about like when I went to do when I got older and sort of into my teens, and I went and did proper sessions with other people. Not that his weren't proper, but obviously not with a parent.
Yeah.
It made me very aware of, how important it is that you're on time and you're ready to go. You don't turn up when the session starts. You're there 45 minutes before, your voice is warmed up, and you've got to be ready to learn things, because I don't read music. He's like, he's worked like from the old school where people come in and read the dots because they're that good. So I had to sort of teach myself my own version of reading music, but I was lucky because I could hear something once and pretty much do it straight away. So
what was your influences growing up as well? Well, I mean, what were you into? Like, what did you
personally?
Yeah.
I grew up in a house of lots of Fleetwood Mac and Carole King and those kind of classic singer-songwriter, James Taylor. So I guess that was what I grew up listening to from other people. When I was a bit older, I was obsessed with Kylie. I was obsessed with Cher.
Oh, wow.
I had her entire back catalogue. It was when the film Mermaids came out and the
Sheep Shoot. Yeah.
And then from that point on, every time I had Pocket, I bought her entire back catalogue. I had it all on cassette tape. And then cut to, many years later, she cut a song I wrote, which was like...
Really? Wow.
It's a song called Walls. I wrote it with Mark Davis, who wrote Believe. And she cut it. Bonkers.
That is mad. That's full circle, isn't it?
Yeah. Really, really, really bonkers. But so I was obsessed with Cher for quite a long time. And then I guess into teens, I was a real... Funnily enough, I went to Oasis last Sunday at the O2, which was amazing. I was struck by how many songs I didn't know. I was not an indie kid at all. I got into them when I was like in my mid-20s,
right?
So like mid-noughties. And I just suddenly was like, oh my god, the songwriting is just so amazing. But in the kind of my teen years, I loved R&B. I was really into American R&B and hip hop and garage for the UK.
Oh, okay.
So that was where I was at in my.
Yeah.
I really missed I was not an indie kid.
See, I got into like rave and house music, but then when Oasis hit, I was into that as well, and I saw them at Cardiff. I did Cardiff opening, and it was one of the best gigs I knew everything. I was singing my heart out it was a special tour, wasn't it? It was amazing to go to.
Really incredible. And actually, my husband, who was a diehard, he was at Nebworth when he was tiny,
yeah,
young, and he actually said he was like, because they haven't played for 16 years, it really did serve as a complete time warp, because it's not like you've had the last 16 years of like, oh yeah, and then we saw them there and here and there, whatever. It's like the last time Ollie saw them was sometime in the noughties, and he said it just was like going back in time. And obviously,
and the crowd was different. Obviously, it was a lot of youngsters there as well, and it was a real mixture, wasn't it? It was nice to see, and you could see parents with their kids and all that, and they were all singing, and it wasn't as because I was on the floor, I was at the front and and I just thought I'd be getting hit with urine and all that, but it wasn't that bad. It was just everyone was just smiling and friendly.
I agree. It was really united. It just felt like everyone was there just to sing their hearts out, and
which is what we need at the moment, I think. Going on. But so the other thing is, what's your first memory of a performing live when you were that age?
Oh my God. So one of the worst memories I have was I sang at my mum's 40th birthday. I must have been 11. And they had a big surprise party for my mum, like in our garden. And obviously my dad, all his friends are like musicians. So there was like a gig with loads of people playing. And I think I was on at the end. And Dave and Carrie Grant, who are great family friends of ours, they were my backing vocalists. And I think I sang Breaking Up Is Hard to Do. And I came out in this little, like a really old 70s jacket of my dad's, blue and black sparkle. And I came in and I sang the entire thing in completely the wrong key. And it was like, once I'd started, I committed, and they had their arms around me, and you can see there's video desperately trying to just bring me back into the right key. And I just don't know how. I think I blacked out. I don't remember past the first verse, but I remember being so upset and mortified because this thing I'd built up in my head. It's going to be this wonderful moment, and absolutely mortifying. So that's actually a big memory of singing live, and that's so silly because it was probably like 120 people in my back garden.
But sometimes they're the most nerve-wracking ones, aren't they? When there's less people, and people as well.
Yeah, and it's still a worm in my head. I still doubt myself whenever I come on stage.
Are you still like that now? I
still hold on to it. There's a worm in my head that I still have the fear that I'm singing in the wrong key, and I just haven't noticed. Like,
is that nerves, or is that just because? I mean,
it's just imposter syndrome and anxiety that I think it just comes.
You're not everyone. I get it from my work as well. I think it's being a creative. It's one of those, I've talked about it before, is that I've had to come off socials sometimes after looking at other people's work, and you're just like, oh man, But you know what I mean? It's the same for you. You must think and listen to things and hear people and just go, wow, mate, what did they do this? How did they do that? It's just, it can inspire you as well. Exactly. That's the thing. But other times it depends in the mood you're in. Wow. If you're in a bad mood or something, you're tired, and I just think, right, I'm following them. They're too good. I can't see their work. They're busier than me, and things like that.
Yeah, you have to sort of make a choice. I mean, I remember reading something about when you feel those feelings of inferiority or even envy, that actually something in your soul crying out for it's your heart telling you what its desires are, and actually it's really important to listen to it, so not to sort of self-flagellate and make yourself feel bad for feeling, because that feeling of like, oh, it's so annoying. It's not, you don't wish them ill. You're crying out for something that you're recognizing something in someone else that they have achieved that you really want, and that's when you can sort of calm your nervous system.
And then you think, oh, I've done all right. That's the thing. You know what I mean? But it's just. I think it's just being not confident half the
It's
time.
human, and that
Yeah,
was
yeah.
it's like comparison is the thief of joy. It's so true, and you have to protect yourself if you can't see other things without feeling, spiraling. It's really important to like protect your nervous system and do everything you can without sounding too like, ooh, self-helpy. But I find writing down what I'm grateful for in that moment is such a good way of yanking me out of.
Are you quite spiritual, Jen, as well?
I would, yeah, I definitely, yeah.
You are.
I mean, I don't want to say like I'm such a guru.
No.
But
But you've got yeah. No, but you sound like some of the things you're saying is quite spiritual, which is nice. And
I've definitely operated under a system where I believe there's something greater at work that I don't necessarily understand yet. But it's a feeling and a faith and a belief in a higher something. And I really respect whatever people choose to call that.
Totally. Yeah.
But for me, it's something. There's something that has always made me feel I'm in quite safe hands.
Yeah. No, I think it's great.
Might just blind stupidity. I don't know. We'll see.
Just going back before we move on, what was the first record you ever bought?
First record I ever bought myself. Well, I remember the first record I was given was it was a vinyl of the Batman soundtrack, which
The Prince.
I loved that record, and it was when we had record players in. Like my dad just had one. I was only about 9 when that happened. I didn't have my own record player. So I remember that being
that was 89. That was 1989. Yeah.
So that was born in 1980. So yeah, I remember that very significantly because I loved it. There was a song on there called "The Arms of Orion."
Arms of Orion. Yeah, that's a really good song. It's quite a ballady, sort of big.
Yeah,
big...
like Beautiful Ones. I just think it's one of his best songs. Yeah, so that's the first record I remember sort of having and really treasuring. And then I think the first one I actually bought, or certainly asked for, was the Kylie Minogue's first one. I told everyone at my school that she was my big sister. And I got very deep into this lie, and then they were like, prove it by bringing her signature in. So I got like thing, and like bearing in mind that her name on the thing wasn't an autograph, it was like block capital like font.
Was this I Should Be So Lucky? Was it that one?
Was that what the album was called? I can't remember.
I don't know. Kylie Minogue. It was called Kylie, wasn't it? With the hat on. Yeah. It was. I think it was called Kylie. I don't.
So
I should really know.
It's fun. No, this is wonderful.
No.
But it was so not a signature, and I like tore up these, but like very sagely handed them out the next day.
Did they believe it?
No, of course not. I must have been like, I think I was in like year 3 or 4. No, I think I was in year 3. So I was little, but and this lie just got bigger and bigger. And I remember my dad walking me to school once, and these big girls were coming to us, and I was like, Dad, if they ask about Kylie, just say she's my sister.
Yeah, but that means Danny was your sister as well.
I know. Well, I know that. Well, then I remember some big girls saying to me, she's actually only got one sister, and her name's Danny. And I was like, and me. And I was like, Dad, please just say that she's my sister. And my dad was like, well, I just won't say anything. And luckily they didn't ask.
Have you ever met Kylie?
No. Right. She must have heard.
Cut this.
Range. No, but I'm going to meet her one day, and I'm going to send a picture of me and her hugging and me like, see, I told you she was my sister.
So the other thing as well is, was there any early artists that you listened to then that shape your sound now? So was it Cher, was it Kylie, or was it Fleetwood Mac? Was it?
I mean, Stevie Nicks will forever
amazing.
Be that voice that I desperately try and lean into as much as possible. Not that our voices are the same in any direction. I just mean stylistically, as a songwriter, as a lyricist, she's so bloody amazing. So I would say that but Carole King as well. James Taylor I was obsessed with when I was much younger. Quincy Jones, actually, there was a Quincy Jones record. I can't remember which one it was. It must have come out in 1990 because I remember it, or maybe 1989 because I remember it being played at my 10th birthday party. And he blew my mind. he absolutely blew me
Yeah,
away.
he was great. I mean, have you ever watched that Netflix documentary of We
No,
Are the World?
actually, I
Oh, you've
haven't.
got to watch it, mate. It's
I have
so
to be
good.
quite careful about watching docs about music. I find them, going back to what you said about that kind of comparison or that kind of feeling, I have to be in the right frame of mind to watch docs about music, because they either,
This is a
like,
bit different though.
about people who passed away, I get quite
Oh,
sad.
okay. Yeah, 'cause there's a lot that have gone in that. Do you know what I mean?
People.
Yeah. But if you watch it, it's quite just quickly.
Yeah,
It's behind the scenes of it, and it's just
yeah,
mad. Like
yeah,
Bob Dylan had to go on his own because he
yeah,
didn't sound right with everyone else, and which he
yeah,
doesn't because obviously he's so
yeah,
unique.
yeah,
It's worth watching. When did you write your first song? When did you think I'm gonna? When do you know what? Before we get to
yeah,
now, where did
yeah.
you get from being at school and doing stuff for your dad, and then you said you moved on a bit? When did you sort of go, do you know what? I want to do this and write songs for. When did you write your first song? When did you think I'm going to
Yeah.
go for this?
Wrote my first song when I was 15, I think. I had two cassette players. It was around about the time that the Fugees, The Score came out, because I was obsessed with that album. And I had two tape players so I recorded my song and then I bounced it and did my harmonies over the top. So it was like a really early, shitty version of tracking and recording it. And I played the tape to my dad, and he was like, I think, quite proud that I'd done this
Have you still got them?
rudimental, the tapes.
Yeah,
God, he does. I bet
that would be great to listen to, wouldn't it?
he keeps stuff like that. But then he was like, "Do you want
Yeah.
to come and just record it properly in the studio?" So we did, and I mean, it's so sweet. I remember the lyrics. It was called Inspiration. It was all very sweet and earnest. But it sounded all right. And then I think I realized then, I was like, actually, my voice does. I think I found my voice a bit like annoying to listen to for a long time. But it was when I did that, I suddenly was like, oh, actually, if I maybe write my own stuff, this sounds better. But then sort of, I just did school. I went to uni. I didn't really know I sort of went to uni because I didn't know what else to do, and I wasn't really sure how to do the music thing. And I didn't really start doing that properly until after uni.
What did you do at uni?
English lit at
Okay.
Newcastle. Complete fucking waste of time.
I did travel and tourism.
Did you?
It was just because I wanted to go to uni. I just wanted to go because all my friends went. So we just went club. It was the mid-90s. We just went clubbing. That's all we did. I passed it barely and just went. It was just going out, just raving.
Yeah, it was exactly. It was sort of that same. I mean, I loved Newcastle. I hated being a student. I was so over being skint by the end of it. I was desperate to leave. Not the city. I loved the city. I really loved the city. But I was so over being a student. But I met some lovely people there, and I did have a good time. And I guess it teaches you how to like coexist in the houses with other people, which I think is a good lesson to learn. I think it's more, I just probably wouldn't encourage my kids to go to uni, because unless you wanted to like be a doctor or go and do engineering or something.
Is that how you feel? Because my oldest wants to go. But again, I want her to do something she wants to do, not for the sake of it now, because it's so expensive for us and them in the end.
Coming out with lots and lots of debt, where you're probably going to end up in the same position as somebody who doesn't have a degree, who got into the work
Experience, yeah.
3 years before. I don't know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. One must never say never. But I just don't. It's not the same. It's not the same. There's not like this.
Well, I didn't pay for anything when I went. It was free, so that's why I went, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, I did, but I say I did. My parents did, and I had a loan, obviously, to cover.
Have you paid that back yet? Because it only took me about 20 years to pay mine.
Yeah, it's a long time. I think I only paid it off properly in like 2018. It took a long time. But it's just nuts now. It's just to go into the workforce that much in debt, I just think is bonkers. It doesn't make any
great.
But we'll see. They're only 4 and 5, so I think
you've got a little while on that. There's a lot more government changes to then.
Don't get me started on that.
No, we won't go there because we said we went. So you left uni.
Yes, left uni and wound up in. I sort of fell into a relationship with 2 producers, who actually, one of my boyfriend at the time was a builder, and he was working on one of their houses and left a CD of me. He knew that this guy was quite successful in the industry, and just sort of left a thing of me singing like jazzy standards, I think. And Steve Lee was his name, and he heard it and he was like, "Oh, she's all right." And Steve Lee and Tim Laws, they're great songwriters. So we ended up working together in this for a few years. I ended up moving to New York because I did a few gigs and expos out in LA. It was one of those things where it all nearly happened. Classic tale.
Yeah.
And it just didn't happen, and I just came
back. How was New York?
It was amazing, but when you're not plugged into like a proper community of people, I had a lovely manager, really lovely, great guy, and I had a residency at the bitter end, and I met this lovely bunch of players who were my band. So on paper, everything was great, but actually it was just, if you're not plugged into a proper community of people your own age doing exactly the same things like an agency or a business, or do you know what I mean? Something that I ended up working in advertising for 5 years just as like a PA in Soho when I got back. And it was the greatest 5 years of my 20s because it was just so fun. We were all the same age. We were all partying at the same rate and we were just all being rascals and it was fucking brilliant. And if I had had that in New York, it would have been a very different thing. I was working, it was so disjointed. I was working with people who were like much older than me, trying to do something that I don't think I really wanted to do. And the residency at the bitter end, again, was so amazing. But again, like socially, I was really isolated and quite lonely. And I just needed to come home and be with like my friends.
Yeah.
Who were my life.
Yeah.
And I was 24, do you know what I mean? I needed to just come back to London and just be with people who I was safe with. Not that I was unsafe in New York, but it was just, everything was just disjointed and disconnected and shit. And
it's not at 24, you want your mates around you and everything as well. And you want to grow up a bit and not miss out on things, you know, if it wasn't going well. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, you know.
Yeah, the plan wasn't to come home. I just came home one Christmas. And I was like, I need to be here now. I need to just start.
So after you met with Steve and everything, how did it move on?
That moved on, and I was like, I'm skint. I need a job. Yeah. I went and got a job, and I ended up working in advertising. This was at BB8, which was one of my best friends. Pay's got me the job, and I just had a fucking great time.
Yeah. For 5 years. Were you still singing as well in between? Were you still gigging and all that sort of stuff? Yeah.
When my dad sort of came in, I was doing all my shows acoustically, and my dad was my guitarist. He just kind of depped for a bit. He was like, until you can afford to pay someone, I'll do it for you. But actually, just people started to slightly buy into it, and it was just quite fun. And we just did like the London circuit for a long time. And then I ended up getting randomly like loads of support tours in Germany. I supported Bob Geldof and Naturally Seven.
Oh wow!
Been like Michael Bublé's like touring, like openers for years and years and years. And then I ended up doing my own tour in like Germany, Austria. And that was great. And we did that for a little bit. And then I left BBH, to go and make it. And then it took another 6 years.
It's not an easy ride, is it? It's not.
7 before I really, really could support. When I say I like afford to pay mortgages.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And it took a long time. I was doing it for the whole time, but it took long.
So you said you got with the electronic thing was with Kate when it sort of hit that.
Kate was happening, around about 2009. I was still at BBH.
And were you into dance music then? Sorry, were you into dance music? What sort of thing were you into then? Was it?
Dance. I got into electronic music. I'd say like mid, like properly. I mean, it was always there.
Yeah.
Just growing up in London, and that's just get immersed in it, don't you? But I really, really sort of like discovered my love for it, sort of, in my mid-20s, I would say. And then, so Kate sort of came along at absolutely the right time. In fact, I spent a lot of time in Nottingham when I wasn't living in New York anymore, writing and recording with some friends, Cy and George. Honestly, the stuff we were doing was amazing. And we just kind of, we didn't really do anything with it, but it was like, I mean, definitely electronic. It was kind of like a little bit like the XX.
Okay.
Or that it was just I'm not saying that in a kind of we were like this. I don't mean it like that. But that time, that kind of like, and that we all really loved, people like Forte and Bonobo, and we were very influenced by that kind of, like really emotive electronic sound. So we were doing that as much as best we could. And actually, it was those demos that Kate heard. Now I'm saying it. It was those demos that Kate heard, and what made us start working together. So it's actually Cy and George, I think, who, and the work we did together, that really started that kind of love affair for me. And then so Partying in the Name of Research, of course, led to that kind of sound being something that, because it was what I was listening to in my time off, and then it just kind of evolved into, I don't know, I just kept doing those kind of vocals.
How did were you at certain events that you met producers and said, oh, or DJs going, oh, I sing, things like that? Because how did you get your early collaborations come about?
I was hanging out with Lika. So do you remember the Vision Quest?
Yeah.
Artists, Seth Troxler and Sean and, oh my God, Ryan.
Yeah.
And I met those guys. I only met Seth a couple of times, but I met Lee and wrote with Lee quite a few times around about then. And then I think off the back of him, those vocals were kind of going into the ether a little bit. I met Jamie Jones back then, a long time ago.
This was like the early Pop Creations time, was it? Like 2011, that was really big then, wasn't it? Building. It's quite soulful, vocally.
Yeah. So it was not that I was working with Jamie by any means.
No. But it was around that time where vocals were coming back. It was gone. It was funny. Daly said the same thing. About 2010, the minimal stuff had died, and then it was all this vocal stuff, soulful stuff was coming through, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I think Jamie was a real fighter for that, because I don't think he helped bring that back in, because I don't think that was necessarily. I think it was quite brave of him, because I don't think it was the done thing in those really, really cool rooms they didn't really have vocals. And Jay was really instrumental in sort of bringing all that back, with Annabelle England particularly being Ali Love and everything on that album. So I'm thrilled that he did that. I was so excited when he was doing that. And then sort of on the side of that, when around about the time that I was sort of leaving VBH, so I was doing all the dance stuff, I ended up meeting a guy called Hank Hughes, who ran F Block in Ealing, which is where Naughty Boy, Craze and Hoax, all of Mojam and all of that. And then I ended up being there. Sort of, I was very supported by Hank. He really believed in me as a writer and a vocalist. And so, but then again, he was like, you just need to get really in with this lot. And, they were doing a lot in the chart. He wasn't in the nicest possible way. He was like, yeah, this underground stuff's cool, but we need to, get you out there or whatever. So then I ended up doing, I guess now I've forgotten the name of the genre.
Actually, this is quite funny.
Oh my God, this is perimenopause.
Genre.
What's the genre that they all did down there? I was going to say trap. It's not trap. Grime. So then it went a little bit more influenced by grime, which that's not my world, of course. I know I would never pretend it was, but because I was working with those guys who were sort of quite big in that world, and then obviously Shah, Naughty Boy was crossing over into much more commercial stuff, but dragging all of those kind of sounds in. So it was just something I fell into. But meanwhile, the dance stuff I was just doing it as much as I could, because that's.
Were they coming to you then? Now were you getting DJs and producers? Were they sort of going?
So the DJs, the kind of the housey guys, so people like Christoph, I was being contacted constantly by people. Made by Pete was another one who was who reached out very early on, and I was just carrying on with the undergroundy dance, because that was really where my heart lay. And I was doing my acoustic stuff, and I was doing the F Block stuff, and then I sort of got more, I guess, busy as a writer. So I got signed to Sony ATV it was a joint venture, but Janice Brock, who's now actually my manager, she's the real game changer for me. So she signed me to Sony ATV, and then when she left, she and I said we wanted to continue to work together. So we did, and she does so much because she's got a publisher's head. So she does all the hard work as far as I'm concerned. I just have to worry about writing and singing. She gets them away. She gets things placed. She gets things paired up with the right people. And I love her for that. So yeah, she's
well, going back to the songwriting stuff is because I've always been sort of amazed, and I'd love to know how does a songwriting process normally work for you? How do you do it?
Depends what the brief is. Sometimes, most of the time, I get sent instrumentals on which I top line. So that's lyrics and melody. And I just fire them off, and I just tend to do that by myself. If I'm writing in a room with the aim for another artist to sing it, the first thing you've got to do is really quite quickly get to know them, really try and work out what it is they're trying to say, really listen to them, let them lead the kind of thought processes, because you can't just be like, I'm just going to barrel in and write something, because that's not what you're there for. You're there to be there for them and just to facilitate what they want to say, and just help nudge if they need it. I'm always I've been that girl in the room that people are writing for, and it's really hard sometimes to feel you have to make people feel confident enough to say what they want to say. And actually the more I work with younger people, because obviously they're getting younger and younger relative to me, there is this confidence that is really wonderful to see, because it's not, I certainly never had it. I was just kind of like, yeah, okay. It took me years to be confident in, no, this is actually what I want to say, and I don't really want to sing that. And would you mind awfully if I, put my thoughts? It took me years and years and years. So it's great that people really know what they want to do and how to do that. But yeah, so it really depends. And then other times it will, I'll just write a complete song and I'll send it.
And do you have songs you've got 30 songs in a notebook somewhere, or is it
very little that's left by the wayside, because she
really
just refuses to leave anything. No song left behind, I think is that.
Do you keep all your notes and you see an Oasis, oh, Noel wrote this on the back of a thing. Do you keep all that?
I was doing because so much obviously you're doing it on your phone or whatever.
Yeah.
More like audio notes. But for a long time, for years, when I was doing the acoustic thing, I found it all quite romantic to write things. And I would write things on the back of bills that were just randomly in my bag. And I've definitely got a folder of lyrics somewhere that I've kept.
Do you do any rituals or routines for writing a song? Do you have to clean the house or something? Or I don't know. I'm like that. I'm a bit like that with certain things. Everything's got to be tidy in my office before I start an edit or something.
Yeah, that helps. I mean, I'm lucky now. We moved into our dream house a year ago, and I've, for the first time in my whole career, I've got my own studio. So that's really wonderful. So yeah, that really is my space now, which is basically a massive walk-in wardrobe. In which I record songs in the corner of it, but it's basically just all my silly outfits. But yeah, so that's it. So yeah, the housework thing, or I try and avoid looking at anything. I just try and go straight to the studio. If I'm struggling to get going, the thing that really helps me is a brain drain, or morning pages. It's from a book called The Artist's Way.
Okay.
By a lady called Julia. I've forgotten her surname. I'll remember.
I'll put a picture up on the when we cut this, so it'd be nice.
And it's and basically one of the most powerful tools in her thing is saying just do morning pages. So it's where you just you have to use a pen and paper, you have to physically write it, but it's just getting stuff out of your head. So it's not a diary, it's not
a list
later, it's not a list,
right.
It's literally everything that's in your brain that needs to come out. And I like to think of it like a brain drain, because I'm sure that's how
does it work. Is it a good thing?
Yeah, because what it does is it gets everything, and you can look at it, and if there's things I need to make a list, so you can weed things out that you're right, that needs doing, but I'm going to write a list and I'm going to park it later. Even if you end up writing though for 3 pages, I don't know what to write, or I'm really fucked off, I'm really angry, oh my god, this happened, I've been really overthinking about that, shit, I shouted at the kids, oh god, I should be nicer to Ollie, blah blah blah, oh shit, I haven't done the washing. And it's all these things that are just constantly rattling around your head. It's like pulling the plug out of your ear and letting them all fall out.
Yeah.
And then you have this, it works. It really, really, really works. And then I do my vocal warm-ups, because they just put me in the right zone. And also because you have to take quite deep breaths to do them. I think that's like a sort of form of calming breathing. And then, you know, if I'm feeling really clever, I'll write down what I'm grateful for that day. And that really just like clears the decks if I'm struggling.
Sounds great. Yeah.
And I would love to say, like, I just go to the gym and I work out.
That was one of my things. You go to the gym because that's for me. That's for me. I go 6 o'clock every morning. I was there this morning, 6 a.m.
When I'm feeling really, really smug and I'm not drinking at all during the week or anything so for a tiny bit of time in this last year, I did get into a routine where I got up at 5 a.m. I was in the gym just before 6. I would work out. I'd come back, have a shower, and then I'd be downstairs like with the rat bags, like 7:15. Ollie,
that's me every day at the moment.
That's me. It is undeniable how amazing I feel.
Smug as well. You feel smug, yeah.
Smug, and I'm just on top of it because then by the time I've come down and I'm with the kids, I've had more than 2 hours to myself to I just need to get back to that. Getting up earlier is the absolute key for me. And I am a morning person. I get the more I get done before midday, the better.
Mate, I'm exactly the same. Like I get at the moment, I'm probably getting up to. I'm up at 4:30 at the moment. My body clock is so. So then I go to the.
Or just if you're in that flow.
Yeah, and I go to the gym at 5:30 to get there for 6 or 5:45. Go have an hour workout, steam sauna. Amazing. You know, little swim outside. You know, literally doing a couple of lengths. You know, just freezing cold outside.
You are such a shock.
Because I'm not drinking at the moment. That's the thing. I'm trying to be good.
As soon as you start, this isn't like I'm not bashing anyone over the head, but as soon as you knock booze on the head, it's amazing how much more you get done.
Well, I'm not a massive drinker, but when I do drink, if I drink on a Saturday, I'm gone until Thursday. Yeah, I just feel it's the age thing as well. I mean, most people who listen to this will say, I was
just going to say something has really, really. I mean, I'm 45 now. Just turned 45 2 weeks ago, and something has really changed in me over this last summer. It's not. Don't get me wrong. I still love to have a good time, but I absolutely cannot cope with it. In the same way.
We've talked about this before. I'm the same. It's just.
And there's been a rapid decline this year. If I have like 2 or 3 glasses of wine the next day, I'm like.
Yeah, I'm 50 next month. And I've talked about this before, but just the older I'm getting, the more I'm sort of enjoying not getting hammered and things like that. I'll have a little blowout now and again, like Glastonbury was a bit of a blowout, and I felt crap for a week. And I'll have a blowout on my birthday, but it just as creatives as well, it's just so hard to.
It takes so long.
Just because you don't want to answer the phone, you don't want to email people, you don't feel, you just. Don't want to do anything. I just want to be on the sofa and eat crap for a week. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, I'm being smug at the moment because I'm going to the gym, but that may change after ADE coming up.
Amazing.
Yeah. So anyway, one thing we've talked about before when we're on that shoot, and the thing is, how would you suffered from creative block, didn't you, in COVID, wasn't it? Was it COVID, or was there a time when you had writer's block or something?
No, it was last year.
Last year,
Last year I really struggled. I think there's an element of PTSD from the last 5 years, just from having 2 babies so close together, leaving London. We lost Ollie's dad very suddenly, and just, like, everything changed very, very quickly for us. So I think we were just still reeling from that. But also, without getting into the whole thing, the state of the world, I continue to be deeply harrowed by what I see in the news about what's going on in the world, and I carried it very heavily last year, to the point where it paralyzed me for about 3 months, and I felt like I couldn't breathe because I was so angry and I was so upset, and I just, every time I opened my phone, I was just, the imagery that we're still seeing and continues to get worse. At the time, I thought I needed to step back and like not do as much work, and then I realized actually that it was writing that was going to pull me out of it. So as much as it wasn't writer's block in a kind of normal I was really depressed. I was in a hole. I was in a hole, in quite a dark place last year. Writing really helped me come out of it, because I think it's just sort of a version of therapy. But I was lucky. I'm lucky that I have that. I think getting to a certain age for women, there's a lot changing for us in our 40s, and sadly, women's health, you have to really fight to get help still. Certainly from the NHS, because they're on their knees. It's not their fault. And what else? So yeah, a friend of mine, Vicky, I remember saying to me, a flower doesn't bloom all year round, and that really helped me as well. And I've really learned. And other times when I'm either on like a tap with no stop, and it's just pouring out of me, and then I just have other times where I do find it hard to get started. But I've just learned to trust those times and not stress about them. The more you get, the more you can't do it. So I've really learned to just lean in and relax when those times where I find it hard to. It's only ever when I'm by myself. When I'm in a studio with other people, I just
creative juices are going then, aren't they? And everything.
You've got to get on with it. It's performance adrenaline, I think, because you're just like, I want to do a good job and do it. Whereas motivating, self-procrastination and all that does, it's just, and self-motivation sometimes when you're on your own or when you're having an intense time, like the summer holidays, for example, both kids being off, you kind of have these like real ebbs and flows where you're like, well, I physically can't do that today. But then luckily I married a legend who does all the heavy lifting when it comes to kids and allows me to just, if I need to lock myself away, I can do that because he's amazing. So I've learned to not panic. So it's really easy to, when you haven't, when it's taken you a long time to be successful in your career as well, there's that kind of scarcity mindset, which I've really worked on to try and not let myself slide into too much that feeling of like, what if it all goes away? Because I don't believe it will go away. I'm not going to wake up one morning suddenly unable to do my job. And there is that feeling of like, when you work for yourself, there is that feeling of like, there's no guarantee. I'm the only backstop to this.
How are you with critique on stuff? So if you send something to someone and they go, it's good, but can we do that? And do you ever go, what? Hang on, what are you talking about?
Dare you question my no, I've taught myself to be good at that, because I think the line is that when someone if somebody's reached out and asked you to work with them, they already like you, so you're not
of course.
But the pitch ones, I guess, are hard sometimes, but again, I've learned to like hold it all really lightly, because you're either going to get a cut or you're not. So if the person is responding to you and saying, do you know what, thank you, I like what you've done, but actually what I was thinking was more along this line, the fact that they're reaching out and they want to, they're not just like not coming back to you.
And they reply, just same with me. If you get something, you go, at least thank you so much for giving me feedback. Exactly. Because some people just don't do it, and you just think.
Then that's the intention, is that they want to make it work with you. So that I welcome it sometimes. No, I do welcome it, because it's important. If you're both there with the intention to make something, get it over the line, then great, tell me, of course, because otherwise it's when people just don't reply that you're like, all right, nice one.
Or they just go, that's fine, and then just say no. If you want changes, change it. It's how has your songwriting evolved since early releases? Has it evolved anyway since you've, like from 2015 till now?
I've always been quite a fast songwriter, but that's not because everything I write is like fast and good by any means. I just like to get the idea out as quickly as possible, and then pick it apart if you need to. But I also think that good songs are kind of skydroppers, and when they come quickly, it's generally because they've come from somewhere else, and you're merely a conduit for something else. So I've learned to, again, going back to that faith thing or the sort of spirituality thing, I've learned to trust. There's a still feeling I get when something just drops out the sky, and I've learned to recognize that intuitively. I think it's just trusting your tummy a bit more. The older you do learn to sort of trust it depends who's singing the song as well. If it's me,
And how do you? The other thing, this is all about songwriting, singing as well. Is that how do you look after your voice?
Well, oh, gosh, I mean, I stopped smoking for a long time, and then I started again last year, which I was very angry with myself about, and I've stopped again now. I was like, this is it now. You just can never have another ciggy ever again because you're just not that guy. You just if it takes a few months to build back up. Like I just have to. So I'm saying this. I've told everyone in my life, I'm like, do not like. I'm not asking you to. But I'm making myself accountable. I'm just like,
and also you're on camera now. This is it. They'll play this back. I'll make a clip of this, and this will be a social clip.
Anyone ever sees me like having even a puff of a ciggy, I'm wrestle.
Are you a vapor though now?
No.
So because that still don't know what it's going to do to your voice, isn't it?
No, I don't like it really. Without saying too much, if I've been desperate at Glasgow or something like, but again, I would just have a ciggy. It just doesn't in the same.
But that's obviously not great for your voice, is it?
No, it's awful.
Unless you want to be croaky and.
Yeah, so that's my 2025 promise to myself that I'm never going to smoke again. Beyond that, I drink a lot of water, but I think that's it really. And I warm up before I do any. I warm up on the way to sessions, or at least before I leave the house now. I used to drive everywhere, so I do, but I just get the train back into London now. So I try and warm up before I even leave the house.
Okay.
But, I mean, that's it really. I'm very good when I'm on like the road. I always walk, like try not. But yeah, I mean, I put cream in my coffee. I love wine. A few weeks ago, I was still smoking so
Yeah. Well, if I see no more cigarettes for you, then when I see you out. Just leaving the songwriting thing, is there any dream collaborations that you'd love to work with?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many people. I was thinking about this morning. And now I can't remember any of them.
So let's do two. If you can. One you'd like to write for, and wrong. Who would you like to sing for?
Can we come back to that?
Yeah, we'll do that the quickfire round. It's going to be harder to do. Right, let's go into the next bit, which is social media. How are you online? Do you enjoy social media?
I go through phases of it where I also most recent. No, I don't like it. I really don't like it. I hate that you have to be a content creator on top of everything else that you have to fucking do. But I understand it's necessary. La 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 la. But I decided in the summer, because I knew I was going to be quite busy doing rat bag things, and I really didn't want to sort of. My lovely manager Janice was sort of like, "Darling, would you mind this? Quite a lot's going on in your life. Would you mind sharing it?" And I'm like, "Yes, sorry." So that's when I did the series. I did a batch bit of content with all the silly hats, and
that's one of my things. Is it's got a great feedback from that.
Yeah. I'm really glad I did that because I enjoyed doing it. B, it was easy to kind of do it in batches. In fact, I need to do my next batch now. I've just been away so much the last few weeks. Because what's good, having said this, what it's good for is you can post it when you're not in the mood. I've now discovered another layer of social media anxiety where even though I've got the stuff ready to go, I'm like, no, I'm not going to post it. Even though I've done all the hard work and I'm not just pulling the trigger. So that's a whole new thing that I didn't know was in there. But also someone else who I follow on Instagram, I've forgotten the account. I think it was the Sober School Society or something like that. Right. Millie What's Her Chops. She's taken a break from social media, and she said, like, just don't panic if you do that. You get the algorithm back. Your mental health is much more important. And I've just needed a little bit of a moment where I just haven't been as on it for the last couple of weeks, and I'm just not giving myself too hard a time.
No, do you know what, Jem? I'm the same.
Doing it, but it's just go through waves of it.
I'm the same. It's like sometimes I do some stories of me before shoots, and we do it. Like shoots are quite easy because if we're on a shoot next week, we'll do a few behind the scenes stuff. But it's just the times of like, like there's some people that are just posting all the time, and it's great. But then sometimes I think I'm posting mediocre stuff. Yeah, like I don't want to post that. I just, especially as a photographer, you want your killer stuff all the time and do all that. So it's just been, it's hard for me to just, I've got so much I can post, but it's just, I don't want it. I just sometimes think, and also as a photographer, because I don't do that much video,
Yeah.
But it's so video led now.
Reels,
Do you know,
yeah.
it's reels and everything, you know, and I haven't got time to do other bits.
You do get slightly punished if you're not consistent. I mean, it is what it is. I think it's I don't know. It's just all these things depend on what you're trying to get out into the world, because it's a real shame when you've got lots and lots of followers and you can't reach them, because you know you have to sort of make it work for yourself. If I've got songs coming out, obviously to share with an audience that's already engaged. But again, I just find I'm too cynical, man. I don't know if I'm just
But I'll tell you one thing about that. You were talking about releases.
And we need to just get over it.
Yeah, and one thing I was going to say, which I've noticed as well, and not just you, is how are you when a release comes out and you're not in the press photos, or you're not like, you know, it's like featuring Jem Cooke, and then it's like, but you're not there. Yeah,
it doesn't tend to happen anymore. Because I mean, more often than not, you try and sort of all get together. But if not, they do like these silly composite work. So again, like, it doesn't really happen anymore. There's one quite big record where
because I did the press shots for Chris and CamelPhat.
Yeah, I mean, it was funny, that one, because it was like, it was like everything else was like massive, but I mean, whatever, it was fine. It still changed my life, and I wasn't even wired for thinking like that at the time.
Yeah, I think that's my question. Why it come up is because I was like, I remember there going. So obviously I'd heard of you, and I was like, "Where's Jem? Where's the yeah."
Probably was being still very. I think that was probably around about the time. Actually, let me form this thought properly. So that was 2018.
Yeah,
I had again run into a thing where I was so skinned.
Yeah.
And I went back. So I'd left the ad agency 5 years before. And then at the beginning of 2018, Ollie and I were really, really like he decided to leave his company and start up something completely new. And we were and I was just like, right, I need to go back to work. I need to go back and do a temp job. And I was panicking about that because I was like, I failed. I ended up going into something that through a friend of mine who I used to work with at the ad agency. And I was only meant to be there for a month, and I asked her for a crazy day rate, which they said yes to. But I ended up staying there for 9 months. So I was actually making really amazing money. And as a result, I wasn't turning up to do shitty sessions anymore. I wasn't waiting for people to say, I was like, unless you can pay me the day rate that I would be earning in the job, or I am obsessed with the music, then I'm not doing it. And actually, it was not that I'm saying anything was shit, but it whittled out all the things that weren't ever going to lead to anywhere. Because as soon as you make yourself available for stuff that people are just like mining your brain just to hold your songs on a hard drive, which happens a lot. The second you start saying no to things like that, the second you start filtering all that crap out and working out exactly what it is you want to do, and saying to people, unless you can pay me to turn up, then I'm just not available. I'm sorry, I can't afford to work for free anymore. And that year was the year I started saying no. And that's the year that Bugging happened, because I love Daily, obsessed with him asking me to do that. And then Breathe, I wrote for Christoph, who again is another person I adore.
Oh mate, he's lovely, isn't he? Yeah.
That working. And it was those two songs in particular that, you know, made that year great. Breathe, it was the exceptional one. So I think I was so like with my head underground working in that year, the idea of like being in a press shot or not just I couldn't give a shit. It was the new publishing deal that I ended up getting, because I was copyright control that year because my previous deal had run out the year before. So because we were always saying, like, people were like, why don't you just get a new publishing deal, like whatever and I was just like, wouldn't it be great if I could write a hit while I was copyright control, because that's obviously the dream. And it's kind of like, well, yeah, it'd be nice, but maybe. And I was like, nope, I'm going to do it. And then it happened. So and as a result, that changed everything. And I also did really well with the deal with Ministry of Sound, and I did well on the master, and you know it changed everything.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It changed everything.
That's the hard work paying off, isn't it?
Yeah,
it is. That's what I like to think. You know, it's like, you know,
it's not like winning the lottery.
You put the graft in.
Yeah, but no one paying you for 20 years.
Yeah, but you not win the lottery. You've worked hard. Winning the lottery is just like luck.
that bit. I didn't win a lot.
So, do you enjoy being on stage?
I love being on stage.
You do like
I've
being
done it before.
Yeah.
But I love it when I'm on, and the feeling when you've come off and done a good job is.
And have you had any like memorable moments on gigs? Like I've put like wardrobe malfunctions or like surprises that's happened, and you've gone, "Oh my god!"
Oh, wardrobe malfunctions. I am well. Funnily enough, when I played the O2 with Tong, I think on the second night I was going to wear this amazing thing that Amy had made for me, which was like a kind of corset and it was two corsets basically stitched together, but she'd managed to make it. It was like really avant-garde, couture-y, and it was amazing. I was like coming out on stage on the O2 with that. I was just like, I'm gonna lose a boob. Also, I just need to not worry.
Me in the pit, just like that.
I need to not worry about a boob falling out.
No, so not there.
It was an anticipation.
Yeah.
Malfunction. So I ended up wearing something else that I felt a bit safer in. I don't think. Oh, I do actually. No, I do. When I would play the first, not the first Glasgow I played, but the first one I did with the CamelPhat boys, I did Breathe and Rabbit Hole, and I realised about halfway through Rabbit Hole, because I was bouncing around, that one boob had come out. But I sort of had this thing, so I think it wasn't too obvious, but it was just something. And I think I actually said it to the mic, my boob. So,
what did Dave and Mike say?
I don't know. It was all very. God.
They might have thought that was the part of the thing. It was a vocal.
New line
New line. Yeah, it's a live version. What's the biggest crowd you've sung to? That was one of my things.
I think it was. What's the big festival in Manchester?
Oh, it's the one in Heaton Park, isn't it? Is it that one?
Yes, I did that. Park Life. Yeah. I did that with Wilkinson, and I remember stepping up, just being like, OMFG. It was never ending. And it was like a late afternoon thing. So it was light and you could really see, but it was just like a rolling sea of, it wasn't scary because it was so many people. Your brain didn't comprehend it. It wasn't like, I don't know how many thousands of people that was.
And the O2 was 20,000, wasn't it?
Yes. So but I think Park Life is.
Was it more? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I do think Park Life is higher than that. Excellent. I think, maybe I'm wrong, but maybe it just felt, it was just, I'd never seen you couldn't see the back of it. It was. Oh my
God. What was the other one? What's the wildest or most unexpected place you've heard your song being played?
Oh, like Aldi.
Really? That's so rock and roll. Which one was that?
My friends who my other parent friends, we spend a lot of time in Aldi and then lots of supermarkets. There are other ones available. Yeah, lots of pals will ping me on a Saturday morning and go, Jem, you're on in Aldi again.
It's funny because I messaged Dave and Mike from CamelPhat. I was I'm a Portsmouth fan, and we were playing Sunderland in the Papa John's Trophy thing a few years ago. And when they lifted the cup, they played Breathe.
Did they?
So as your chorus came in, they lifted the cup. You know what I mean? Like that. And I was going, it was so, and we'd just done the press shots not far. And I'd messaged him going, oh my God, this is quite mad. Like they're using it as an anthem of the thing. It was like 80,000 people there. So it's quite cool. I mean, yeah, it was really cool.
That's a better story.
Well, no, not Aldi. If you're a Sunderland fan, it's not, because we beat them.
Yeah, I've been in taxis before where it's come on. And if I've been with the wrong drunk friend, he'll be turning it
this
up.
Is you.
This is her.
Do you ever get recognised?
Only by people in the industry, really. I'm not. No.
Not yet. Not yet.
No, I'm fine with it. Genuinely, I really am. And in all seriousness, this isn't like a false modesty thing. I was talking to somebody in a session recently. I was like, in terms of the only thing I really long for is more live work. That's would be amazing. Just to go and do my own set more frequently. That's a real heart's desire. But in terms of who I guess am, or how I feel like people view me in the industry, I can't tell you how peaceful I feel about what I've done and where I've got to. And as a songwriter and as an artist, I love where I'm at. And if I could just attach more live performances to that, this is me putting it into the ether. Please, any agents, I would love to be
2026 live tour.
Yeah, like
about.
this.
I think it'd be great. Would you not do that? Would you not try and do that yourself, like an acoustic
course.
sort of like,
when I did my own set at Glasgow 2 years ago, it was like, this is it. This is what I should be doing.
Yeah.
And what I loved about it was I was in complete creative control. When I stepped on stage, it was all down to me. I wasn't worried about letting down anyone else. It was entirely me. And I've built up a really big catalogue of like collaborative records that it's a good sing-along hour. So I am available, just saying, to anyone who's looking for an artist who was signed recently. But yeah, it's quite hard because most people for festivals and all of that jazz, they're looking for, big DJs to get bums on seats. And I understand, but I really, that's the only part of my career that I feel like I think it was Mark Wilkinson described like your career, your kind of life as an artist is kind of you're recording or writing or performing. And he was just like, just at different times, one side of the triangle will, be getting.
I like that. It's cool. Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
That you're incomplete if one side is just a bit shorter at the moment.
You're just on a different journey. You're on a different side.
A bit of it. Oh, by the way, something very exciting that might be happening. So there's a couple of like lively things that I haven't been confirmed, and there's again, we might have to cut it because I think this is a secret, but I'll tell you. But Christoph and I think he's doing a secret gig at some point, or maybe it's the location that's not being announced yet.
Okay, it doesn't matter anyway because you've not told us the secret location anyway.
Right.
This is coming out in 3 weeks, so it might be done by then anyway. So I quite like your little breakdown you're having. just don't know when it is, so that's fine.
Sometime in November, something's happening.
Okay, so that's not giving anything away. So something's happening, you don't know where, and it involves Christoph.
And then I just would love to do more venues that or just do my own. That's my my desire for the next year, to really get my live game back up and running.
You've just said that because that's one of my things is where do you see yourself in 10 years, and is it more being an artist yourself, as in without collaborations, sort of thing? Like,
I mean, the collaborative stuff, I think for a long time I was like, oh God, I'm not doing my own stuff, but they're your songs. They are my songs.
You are writing them.
I've written them. I've sung them. They are my songs. Just because a producer has his name on there too, it's no different to what I'd be doing as an artist. I'm still writing the songs, and someone is producing the record for me. I'm lucky enough that I can license out my songs to producer, to different producer, different labels, and I get to do exactly what I want as often as I want. So actually, I'm thrilled with that. And also when you have these things and there's different people reaching different audiences, then your songs stand a better chance of like gaining, ears, and it's great, and I'm happy with that. I have done my own project a couple of years ago, but I'm still too terrified to put that into the ether. But I might do that. But I don't think at the moment it's like this kind of necessary thing that I need to go and do, because I've got these big bunch of bangers that just keeps growing, and I've got more than enough material. Well, so
so do you know what? Last question before the quickfire round.
Yeah.
Any advice for new people coming through, new vocalists or new producers, new songwriters? What would you say?
I've been asked this question a lot, and I would never like sort of deign to offer too much advice. I think the only thing that, if you want to break through, just keep going. That's the only difference between people who sort of crack through and don't. You just have to keep going. Keep in your lane. Just keep looking forward. Just don't. Going. Keep going. If you can build a good team around you, if you can find, not everyone has a Janice. I'm lucky. I have a great manager who is also a great friend and really knows the business and protects me. So if you're lucky enough to find someone like that, hold on to them. And also know one song, unless you're, there are very few artists where one song will like make or break them. So just don't panic, or one show will make or break you. Those kind of starry things they're far and few between. So don't overthink it too much if you can help it, especially if you're an independent artist.
Yeah.
Just keep going and write with as many people as you can, meet as many people as you can, work out your tribe, basically, because there are people that you'll like being in the room with more than others. And just experiment and don't worry too much. Hold it all really lightly. It's only fucking music.
Exactly.
Doesn't matter. It's a wonderful gift.
Lovely advice, mate. Lovely advice. That is. It's nice. It's really, really nice. I like that. Right. Quickfire round.
Yeah.
Best gig.
Honestly, there was a gig I did acoustically in Austria.
You don't have to rush this. It's quickfire round, but you can. It's not like it's timed. Yeah. It's fine.
There was a gig I played in Austria on one of the support tours, and it was this beautiful old theatre, like red velvet chairs, gold everywhere, and like just utterly amazing. And I came on with my ukulele and my dad, and I did the first song. I was only playing like 4 or 5 songs. And it was a real vocal show-off one. Like I really went to town. And I got a standing ovation that lasted about 9 minutes. It was, maybe I'm exaggerating, but it went on and on. And I was like, I've still got 4 more songs. And also, like, I'm opening for someone else. So we've got to, like, thank you. You've got to stop. But it was one of those moments I was just rushing.
Amazing.
So that to me was like, obviously there have been amazing bigger ones on bigger stages, but that one to me will always be locked in.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Worst gig?
Yeah, my mum's 40th.
Okay. First gig you ever went to?
I think it might have been Jason Donovan in a tiny...
Nothing wrong with Jace.
Yeah, I think it was Jason and Sonia was warming up.
It was a proper Stock Aitken and Waterman.
Yeah, and I would say, but first proper big one. I went to see Michael Jackson. Actually, I'm lying. It was the Dangerous tour.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But actually, the first gig I would have gone to, change my answer, would have been going to see Cliff Richard, because my dad was his MD, like in the early 80s.
No way.
So when I was really little, I remember sort of going and being.
Did you meet him?
Oh yeah, I mean, Cliff is like, he's.
Is he a nice guy?
He's a lovely guy.
Yeah. Cliff. My mum likes Cliff. Best artist you've ever seen live?
Oh, Prince at Coco.
Oh wow. Yeah. I've said this before. I used to sell binoculars at Wembley Arena.
Go on.
When I was a student, I said this on my first pod with CamelPhat, and Prince was that symbol stage. It was in the 90s, and we saw him about 4 times. And
wow.
Luther Vandross was there as well. It was one of my favourites. I always say Luther's one of my heroes. So went too early, he did. Right. Most fun collaborating in the studio with, and why?
It's a really hard one to whittle down, because it depends. Who have I laughed with the most? Brad Ellis is my heart. I love Brad. He and I've worked together for a long time, and we generally just giggle quite a lot and are very silly together. So he's always very fun to work with. And actually, it was on a writing camp that he put together. I was on last year, and there were lots and lots of us. We were all like obviously in different rooms, but on the last night, we all came together. There was about 12 of us. I don't know what the hell would ever happen with this song if it came out, but we just got into this like funk record that was, and there were about 12 of us writing this top line, and it just got sillier and sillier and sillier, and we were hysterical. So there's too many people to mention in that room.
Okay.
I would say Brad.
Record you wish you'd written?
Songbird.
Who's that?
Fleetwood Mac, Chrissy Hines.
Of course it is. Yeah, of course.
She talks about it.
Of course it is. Yeah.
On Desert Island Discs, where she basically, she said it a bit more discreetly than this. But basically, it came to her when she was high in her hotel room, and there was no like way of recording it to remember it the next day. So she just continued to party and played it over and over and over.
No, what is that? What she did? Really?
So she wouldn't forget it. So
wow, that's quite cool.
Yeah, but
they did it once head in the room.
No, I think she was on her. I think I think she was on her own, or maybe she was there with one other person. But yeah, it was like she was up late in her room and she had a piano and just stayed up recording.
Amazing.
Like, remembering it. Check Desert Island Disc for the exact telling tale. But, yeah.
Guilty pleasure song.
Anything by Madonna on Immaculate Collection. My friend Nat was living with us recently and she was playing it and I was like, yep, everything's a banger on here. But I mean, I'm saying guilty as if I'm not guilty. I'm not.
No, she's great. Yeah. Favorite album of all time?
Rumours, I think. Or Fortet, There Is Love in You.
Okay.
Two very
different ones there. If your life had a soundtrack, what song would it be? Walking on stage.
Stand on the Word by the Joubert Singers.
I don't know that.
Yeah, you do.
Do I? If I hear,
Larry Levan used to close the device with it, and everyone thinks it's like his track, but it wasn't. He just used to
if I hear it, I'll know what it is.
I'm like, edit of it, but you'll know it when you.
Okay. If you could headline a festival, if you could curate one, top 3 headliners, alive or dead. You can have alive or dead.
Prince.
Yeah. Dead.
Roisin Murphy.
Yeah.
Grace Jones.
Wow. Yeah, that's cool. That'd be good to photograph as well. I'd love to do that. Can I be the photographer? Thank you. Yeah. If you could cover any song, what would it be?
Any song.
So if you were doing a live tour like we talked about, would you put Dreams in or something like that, or
I actually did do a cover of Dreams.
Oh right, okay, cool.
But not the world doesn't know. But I did with a guy called Chris Houston and it's bloody brilliant and it needs to be heard at some point.
Well, it does, yeah.
So maybe Dreams, yeah.
Yeah. The last one, most famous person you've ever met.
So for me, because it's all about like the value you attach, I guess. When I was in LA in like 1998, and I was at a club with a friend of my dad's. He and his friends were like the house band in this, and it's like in LA, all the musicians. It's like so fucking amazing, and he got me up because they were just like the house band, and I was in there, and he got me. I think I sang Summertime, and then after I'd been on, I walked off, and Courtney Cox was sat at the table. Came up and she gave me like a thumbs up. So I didn't really meet her, but obviously I was like die hard.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe I was walking past Courtney Cox. So yeah, I would say that's the most famous person I've had almost met.
Well, listen, Jem, this has been great to talk to you about all your life, and I've only met you a few times, and we've spoke quite a lot on WhatsApp and all that, and obviously we've got to shoot next week, so it's been really nice to sort of catch up properly through this medium, which is nice and everything. So Jem, thanks for joining me, and I'll see you later.
Darling, bye.
Bye.